How's it guys, Munash here, and today we have a pretty interesting Alliance War video because today I actually got to use Morningstar in Alliance War. A champ I've never used in war before. In fact, I never imagined I'd bring Morningstar to war, but times are changing, man. Now that stubborn is no longer a thing, we are having a lot of protect wars these days. So the most effective tactics available have definitely changed, no pun intended. So I'm going with Morningstar with Tina 99 for synergy, just to do a bit more crit damage. Then I'm also going to bring Falcon because we do have a stunning reflection thing mini-boss to take care of. Okay, so we join, and today I'm also going to be doing part 3 for the first time, and this is just because I need easy fights to ramp up Morningstar because she is one champ who really does need that ramp up to become a good champ, and that's probably the biggest piece of criticism I see people give Morningstar because yeah, without that ramp up, she's not that great, but the ramp up itself takes so much time because you do need 4 fights to fully ramp her up without any synergies, and it can be quite tedious because you also need to use special 3s in each fight. So first up we have Tigra with aggression armor and enhanced armor up. So this is not a difficult fight really if you have a good counter for it. You know, it's a very basic fight because she doesn't really have that many nodes. I mean, armor doesn't really do much in this situation because you can hit her pretty consistently to remove it. But it's still not going to be an easy fight with Morningstar because of that ramp up that she needs. So I need to get to special 3 first just to, you know, get that soul. Then after that I'll start using special 1s to do more damage. But now the problem is Tigra's got some very quirky animations where she can push you back quite a bit. So you have to be a little bit careful that you don't get pushed back too much, otherwise, you know, you can get cornered quite quickly, and when you're cornered against Tigra, the fight can get very messy because then a heavy attack is not that easy to evade. And that special 2 as well is also very difficult to evade when you're in a corner, and it is unblockable, so you can't just block it. So I throw the special 3 and managed to get the soul without even touching her, just because I did get hit earlier, which applied the bleed debuff. Because the opponent just needs to take some form of damage to increase the timer, and then once it reaches 100 she captures the soul. So now we have 2 because I started with 1 since my Morningstar is duped. So now I just want to use special 1s for damage, since they can do a good amount, especially if they crit, because it also has some red numbers in the form of passive energy damage. Although the damage is based on how many souls you have, so with 2 it's not going to be that much. When it crits it does about 4,000 additional damage per hit with 2 souls. Okay, so at this point of the fight I was already getting pretty annoyed because Tigra didn't want to throw that special 1, which left me cornered. So I had to push it to 2 bars, and halfway through the animation I'm cornered again. So I get hit by those last few hits because it's unblockable and I just can't dex it. I haven't really tried to practice dexing it in the corner because why would I be in a corner against Tigra? You know, I use Doom, Magic, you know, good power control champs. This is just ridiculous. Just the fact that I'm using Morningstar to take down Tigra in war when I have much better counters, like I can name at least 5 better counters for this fight in my roster right now. But here I am, just struggling through this supposedly easy fight. You know, she barely has any nodes, 100,000 health, and the fight is basically halfway gone, and I'm still trying to get it down with 17% health left. So yeah, this fight was just a reminder of why I don't use Morningstar more. Firstly, the ramp up process is not very fun and takes a bit of time. And while you add it, unless the opponent has buffs, you don't really have much to work with, so that makes her quite impractical for a lot of stuff in Alliance War. Okay, so just one more special 1 and she goes down after almost 3 minutes. 100k health, by the way. Okay, I think that's enough trashing on Morningstar because it can only get easier now. In fact, that Tiger was probably the hardest fight I had this war. Okay, but now we're gonna move on to section 2 where we just have one fight once again. So still on part 3 we have this invisible woman with heavy-handed, enhanced armor up, and explosive personality. This is just like section 1, as in all the nodes are based on armor. And she's also a small champ, so don't have to worry about protect once again. And now I'm gonna use a combat regeneration boost just to save some health potions, because these are boosts that I don't use that often, so I'll get them during the season, and usually I'll end up with 1 or 2 in the stash. Okay, so let's go in against Invisible Woman, and pretty much the same strategy I used for Tigra. Main difference is instead of having weird animations and unblockable specials, she just has invisibility and force fields. so she is a lot easier to handle. And then she also has suicides, which was a very pleasant surprise. Always welcome in off-season wars if I don't want to practice, because usually I do when I'm testing and doing something new, but this is a very easy fight. I'm not trying to practice here, I just want to get the fight done with and just ramp her up. And I'm also utilizing the heavy attack more in this fight for the power gain. I didn't use it much in the previous fight because I was a bit wary of Mystic Dispersion, and also the potency of the power gain is based on how many souls you have, so with one soul it doesn't really do that much. Okay, so now I'm just building up to the special 3 while playing around her invisibility, and it's going to be very easy to capture the soul once again because she has suicides. Won't need to make contact with her, just let the poison do the work. Oh, I also forgot to mention that each soul you gain gives a unique ability, so when you have 1 soul, when you get hit, you place that bleed debuff on the opponent. At 2 souls, your special 1 gives you an unstoppable buff for 2.5 seconds. At 3 souls, your special 2 becomes unblockable. At 4 souls, you gain 1250 energy resistance plus 50% perfect block. And then at 5 souls, you get 20% chance on each hit to regen or lifesteal, 50% of the damage you deal. So at 4 souls is where Morningstar really starts to get hot, which you'll see in the next fight. So for this invisible woman, I was thinking of exploiting explosive personality and just hitting a block 4 times, then throw special 2 to nullify all those buffs and do some big boy damage, but she was already pretty low after the first special 3, so I just carried on with the special 1. So yeah, a fairly straightforward fight, and I think that was the easiest one of the war. Either that or Champion. Who is up next? Okay, so now we have Champion with Recovery, Indomitable, and Vigorous Assault. And he is a large champ, so he can't trigger Protect, but that's not really an issue with Morningstar because she's also a large champ, so she can remove it by knocking him down. But also her damage doesn't really come in the form of big yellow numbers, or even big white numbers. In fact, most of her damage comes from those red numbers, so she generally is a good counter for Protect. Okay, so we go in, and as usual, just want to build up to the special 3 first. So I just parry and then throw a heavy attack for the power gain, and you can see it's doing a little bit more now with 3 souls. Now finally we actually do have a good matchup, because Champion is a champion who does... Champion is a champ who does gain a lot of buffs. However, I noticed that he didn't have any persistent charges in this fight. Not sure why, probably just a bug, because I have been seeing a lot of bugs in Alliance War lately. But I wasn't sure if it's just a visual bug or he just genuinely doesn't have any charges. But he barely triggered Primal Fury in this fight. In fact, I think he only triggered it once in this fight, which is a little bit unfortunate because I wanted him to trigger it more just so I can take advantage of all those beautiful buffs. But since there were barely any buffs in this fight, I was just throwing special 1s once again. Okay, so this time we actually have to capture the soul the good old-fashioned way, you know, just by hitting him, which again is pretty easy to do. And now we have 4 souls, so this is where Morningstar really starts to come alive. Just that 50% perfect block chance is quite underrated, I think. Just makes him much more tankier, quite similar to Magneto against metal champs. And of course the increased damage from the special 1 is also very nice at this stage. 1 crit hit can do close to 20,000 energy damage, and even when it doesn't crit, it still does about 6,000 damage, and this is just passive energy damage, so it doesn't trigger Protect and can bypass damage caps. So Champion was pretty straightforward. Also right now we are doing a boss rush, as in we're trying to clear Boss Island, I think it's called, with just the 5 of us, so we disable the Protect tactic and then the others can have an easier time in section 2. Okay, so now we have a Stunning Reflection Thing mini-boss with polka dot power, and this is the fight that I brought Falcon for. I figured he should work well for it, just because it's no longer stubborn. So I go in and the last thing I want to do is parry. First thing I want to do is lock on. Now I can't ignore pretty much everything that makes him annoying, no rock armor and no protection. So now I just need to find an opening, and I did rely on intercepting quite a bit in this fight. But I didn't get hit today, and I don't think I did a backdraft today, but I still did bait heavy attacks a few times, you know, just for those easy openings. And I did interrupt his heavy a few times just to make sure he doesn't gain too much ground, because this is one fight that you don't really want to get cornered for, because then you won't be able to parry, and then you might end up having to dex that heavy attack in the corner, which can be quite tricky if you don't time it right. But so far the fight's going pretty well. Even when lock on expires, just drop a usual combo, wait for red ring to ready itself, and then lock on again. Nice thing is I can still do 5-hit combos, which would be good for managing his rock shield anyway. And this is one of the main reasons I want to take Falcon up to rank 3, because I feel like, you know, at a higher rank, more attack, more damage means I don't have to lock on as much. Okay, so here I shortened my combo because I wanted to bait a heavy attack. So I held block so he doesn't throw the special one. But then I drop a 5-hit combo, leaving him at 14 stacks. But fortunately, he allows me to actually hit his block and then throws a special one. Now, while he is recovering from the special one animation, I lock on again. And then right after that, I get an epic intercept and we are back in business. Another intercept. Now I just got a bait special one. Then drop a combo. And he goes down. Okay, so now we have one more ramp up fight for Morningstar, which is going to be on this Black Widow Deadly Origin with Brute Force, Spry, the best defense, and Limber. So I actually wasn't too worried about Limber in this fight because with perfect block chance you do get an increased parry stun duration. But I'm still going to go in and play it a bit safe in the beginning by baiting that heavy attack and then punishing. Just to save some parry stuns for later. And for this fight, once again, special 3 and then special 1s. Now the problem is I baited a special 1 here, which gives her the evade. Although at least I can still parry and then drop a combo without being evaded, as long as she is stunned when I hit her. In fact, the most annoying thing in this fight is brute force, because sometimes you just have to wait it out a bit. You know, just wait for that next parry stun opportunity, because the special attacks also have a very lengthy duration. And then here I made a tiny slip up because I thought that I could get in 3 hits before the stun expires, but she manages to evade that 3rd hit as it expires and apply all those debuffs on me. And then here I should have punished her combo after the 5th or 6th hit, but I wasn't really paying attention, and also it's Black Widow Deadly Origins with her wacky combos. Then unfortunately she's gonna throw a special 1 right after that, so I do take a bit more of that brute force damage. So I parry 1 hit and then a special 3. Now I'm a bit more careful because of what happened last time, so I'm only gonna do 1 hit when she's stunned until the evade expires. Go back to full combos, and now I want to bait the special 2. Well, I always wanted to bait the special 2, but she just wouldn't let me. But at least now she's not throwing the special 1. So as you'd expect, I push her to 2 bars of power, but now she's not throwing the special 2. Just like a double medium combo bestie Tigra. Man, I swear this AI has something against me. Or does this happen to everyone? So now I'm just parrying and then dropping a light attack, since lights give less power than mediums, and obviously I don't want to push her to 3 bars of power. So now I'm sort of running out of hits. She's very close to 3 bars of power. And then just as I can no longer hit her anymore, she finally throws that special 2. And I failed to punish it because I couldn't even recognize when it ends, because I thought it was longer than that, but I guess it's just the special 1 that's long. But yeah, clearly I'm not used to her animations. In fact, I've hardly seen a special 2 because I usually use Doom for this fight, and Doom is a champ who doesn't even care if he has special attacks or not. Okay, but I think I'm done messing up now. We have 5 souls, we know the special animations, we know when to punish, and we get that sweet lifesteal now. So now it's just bait special 2s and throw special 1s. Throw a heavy for the power gain, and you can see with 5 souls it's just a little bit more potent. Still a slow power gain, but I mean it lasts for pretty long, so you don't have to activate it that much, and it's a nice little bonus. Okay, bait 1 more special 2, drop a 5-hit combo, and with 1% left she throws a special 1. But I can just parry and then take her out. Okay, so finally we have made it. We have reached the Terrax Boss with the fully ramped up Morningstar, and we didn't die. So this is why I brought Morningstar. This rank 2 Terrax Boss is literally the only reason I brought her to war today. So I'm just going to use a combat regen boost just to save some health potions, and checking his sig to see how much power he starts with. Okay, so he goes in, drops a 5-hit combo, and I go down. Oh man, dude, I don't know what happened there, but apparently my block just decided to fail me at the most crucial moment because I just dropped it slightly early, just before he actually dropped the combo. And that combo took out all my health, which was a little bit depressing, I must admit. I felt pretty frustrated or pretty pissed off at that moment because I was like, dude, all these items that I have to use now, like, come on. Okay, we're gonna try this one more time, and this time we're gonna take it a lot more seriously, okay? No more taking chances. Let's actually play it very safe. Keep in mind he still has full health. So I wait out the... I don't know what the hell it's called. You know, I actually don't know much about Terrax's abilities or how he works. But that rock aura thing that he does, I don't even know what it's called. In fact, let me check on May real quick. Okay, let's go. Cosmic... Terrax... Geokinesis. No, that's not it. Rock field. Oh, that's all. It's just called a rock field. Okay. Okay, so I wait out the rock field, and if he pushes me to a corner, I just bait heavy attacks there. Fortunately, they aren't the most difficult to dex, so you can bait them fairly well. And here, I'm actually not even too concerned about which special attack he throws, because if he throws special 1, it means less time on the rock field. But the special 2 just means less specials to bait, so less instances of the rock field. And now what I want to do in this fight is just throw the special 1s until he has a good amount of those resistance charges. Then I build a special 2, because that will nullify all that stuff. It can trigger protect, but knocking him down will remove it. And does a good amount of damage, so yeah, it's pretty good for this fight. And yeah, just carry on, bait special 2, and just avoid hitting him so he doesn't have the rock field for too long. So Morningstar works well for this fight for a number of reasons. First of all, at 4 souls she gains 1250 energy resistance, which is quite helpful against Terrax because the rock field does deal energy damage. Also at 4 souls she gets that 50% perfect block chance, which does so much for mitigating block damage. And you'll see me block a lot when I'm in the corner waiting for the field to expire. Then at 5 souls she gets that lifesteal, which again helps mitigate block damage and really all kinds of damage because it's just regen. So you can take some rock field damage and still be able to heal yourself up. So all that makes her pretty sustainable for this fight, and then you get a damage output, which is also quite good for this fight. The special 1 just generally does good damage on its own when it crits, but the special 2 is the real moneymaker here because he does gain a lot of buffs just due to the adaptive node. They can take a bit of time to stack up, but once you have a couple you can do some very nice special 2 damage, because each hit of the special 2 will do an additional 1875 energy damage for each buff on the opponent. And it will also nullify all those buffs, so you can gain a good amount of power with MD. Okay, so now we are approaching the end of the fight, and it has gone pretty well so far. I think this is the last special 2 I bait, so now I'll just avoid him, wait for the field to end. In a corner, dex those heavy attacks. Once it expires, I can go back in with the full combos. And actually to build to one more special 2. Only had 3 buffs, but more than enough damage to take out the last 7%. So yeah, Morningstar works pretty well for this fight, although I'm not sure I would use her during the season just because of that ramp up. You know, I can't always get it done depending on the path and who's placed there, so we might just try other counters, but when she can get ramped up, she is pretty banging at 5 souls. Also keep in mind I wasn't really running any boosts besides that combat regen. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.